Okay. Also, you kind of just ran away from us. I didn't particularly like. I do still feel like there ought to be some loot on these boats or underneath that pseudo bridge, but mostly just trying to get your attention. We are on Ard. Did that hit you? That I don't think did. Hold on. Sidestep that. And oh, we're getting more attention now, and I missed on that Ard as well. Can I just swing my sword at you? Okay, let's get 2 for 1. We did. What? Oh no, you got back up. That's not cool. Please don't do that. Also, I missed on the Ard. You're just hanging out above us, kind of, sort of. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, I get the whole, like, dramatic flying around thing, but, okay, the Ard, I think, did enough damage to actually take you out there. It just sidestepped you because we didn't have the Ard, or at least didn't look like we had the Ard. But that time, we'll actually hit you and actually take you out. And I think that's most of them. It might not be all of them, though. Got all the loot? Not quite. Okay. But I think now we can look to loot a little bit more in peace here. Do we see any more? I don't think so. There's a chance. One of the other reasons why I brought up the whole is a monster's nest thing is that there's a chance that they would respawn. There's a chance they might not. Hard to know definitively at this stage. At least for the moment, they appear to be gone, and the NPCs also appear to have left. Like I said, I don't really know what to think about that. Is that actually something that was supposed to be significant? Was that just a random thing that happened to happen? It didn't really have any significance, possibly. Still feel like I want to try to look at as many boats as possible to see if any of them do have any loot in them. But so far, we are striking out in that regard. But that doesn't mean that we'll stop trying. I do want to be a little mindful of the steep cliffs, though. Trying to avoid walking off those, or at least if we do walk off them, or walk off them onto a boat. Could be something under a boat? That's just the usual herbs there. Buckthorn. Can we climb up this? I think so. Now we're far enough away from where we were before that I would not rule out us running into more of those siren-like enemies. I think these are all just peaceful birds at the moment. Okay. This is the path, so to speak. But there's definitely an enemy here. It looks like a bandit, maybe, just based on how there's a human over there. But I want to see if there's anything else over here, because we didn't necessarily look as thoroughly on this side. Steep drop-off, yes. Mostly looking for chests, though, to see if there's anything else. Okay, we did appear to get at least one of you guys to come back. Is probably a good indication of what happens in this area with the siren-like enemies. They do appear as though they will respawn. I've not seen any guarded treasure indicators or monster's nest indicators, so I think that they are just purely random enemies, and these, I think, are all bandits. Yup. Let's take them out. Oh, that's one way to take you out. Don't use Ard on humans very often, but I suppose we have enough of our power on our signs, or enough sign intensity, then we can just knock them down like that, keep them down. That makes for pretty simple, straightforward fights. I don't think that'll work with enemies that have shields on. I think they can usually block that, but I suppose those guys didn't really pose much of a threat to begin with. They were just level, what, 14 or maybe 16? Is there actually anything over here on this little peninsula other than the Arenaria? And a great view? Wow, look at that. That looks amazing. definitely very scenic, even in this direction. You know, just ignore the dead body over there. But other than that, definitely a much more majestic looking place than Velen ever was, because we had so many people talking about how Velen was just a huge swamp where nothing ever grew. And Skellige may be cold. We've seen a lot of wind howling and frosty peaks. These mountains over here in the horizon line. But still, beautiful nonetheless. Let's see. Anything else over here? Some kind of animal, it looks like. These are goats. Okay. Don't think we have any reason to pick a fight with them. Again, just want to keep our Witcher senses on here when we can. See if there's anything else we should be picking up on. And more boats. I just feel like there can't be this many boats with no loot in them, right? Like this one looks like it does, in fact, have loot. Okay. So perhaps our patience pays off here. Let's see what we can find. Silver. That's not bad. Runestone. Let's just pop up real quick for some air. And we may not need to go back down, because it looked like the rest of the things, those are all herbs down below in the water. Everything else that's a chest may be on dry land. Cotton and horside's nothing amazing. Phosphorus, I think, actually is a pretty nice crafting material. I think that is it here, though. That's not bad. I'm at the very least relieved to see that we found something there, because I would have been very suspicious if we checked a bunch of boats and never found anything. I would have felt like, clearly we must have missed something, right? Just feels like they're too significant to have nothing in them. Before we go down there, I don't think we've checked this boat, necessarily. So this one looks a little bit more barren. Also looks a little bit harder to get back up. We might just leave that one as is. And try some of these ones over here. And or other things over here. And I do like the number of pop umbels that we're finding, because once upon a time that was a difficult herb to get. At least a relatively difficult herb to get, though it does seem as though it's one of the ones that in Skellige is a lot easier to come by. So I do like that. And it feels like in that way, the different areas do have their own unique ecologies, at least to a certain extent. And you're finding one type of herb often in a certain area, and then a different type of herb most often in a different area. But the ones we find underwater, for the most part, have remained buckthorn first and foremost, and so that still is not something that is terribly interesting. I am curious if there's anything under the bridge. And there is, though it does appear to be more the herbs, not so much the chests. But there is also at least one, if not two, boats around here, or if not more boats around here. So let's check these two. I think that's just more herbs. Carol, can you get in here to see if there's anything on the other side of the boat? You seem to be struggling with this, so let's try approaching from a different angle. And maybe we can go around this boat. That's the one that we were looting before, I think, and we did find stuff in. But I'm wondering about this half of this boat here. It does have an herb on it, right there. Some blood moss, it looks like, but we can't reach that. That's not the end of the world. I'm mostly concerned about, are we going to find some chest over here that has some, or might have, some amazing loot in it? And I'm not seeing that, so I think we're fine just moving on from here and heading over to the other side. But maybe while we're in the water here, we'll just check out this boat as well. Make sure there's nothing we might miss on this one. I don't think I'm seeing anything. Let's hop up here. And I think we're getting closer to some of the places that we were planning on doing some quest-related things, because I would have to imagine we're starting to cover a little bit of ground. We are going fairly slowly, yes, because we're doing a lot of checking for loot. There's a question mark over here. This is technically where our quest is leading us, the one that we have active right now for the Witcher contract. But I thought that we had at least one other quest that we just don't have active, but does have some kind of update on either this island or maybe the island we're on right now. So I do expect for things to start to get a little bit more hectic in the near future. It's like, technically speaking, the path is back where we just were. This is just more of blood moss. This almost looked like a place of power right there. Could be. Wouldn't necessarily rule it out. I'm very suspicious of that boat there. I feel like there very well could be something in there. There are enemies here. This... oh, that's not the sign I meant to do. This could very well be tied to something. Some kind of quest that we've seen. It's a little weird that you say Skelliger. Renegade sounds like an enemy. Skelliger sounds like a villager that we would have encountered in any of the villages that we've been to recently. I'm a little bit hesitant to fight you, but it doesn't appear as though there's any option of peace here. So in that case, we'll take you out, as well as your friends. As well as their friends. That's the same guy. Oh, how dare you? I was about to dodge that. Thank you very much. It's a little weird. I mean, they do have the high ground, so we have already lost. This is true. That guy is coming at us fast. Okay, let's just shift gears a little bit and retake the high ground and get hit as we hit them with an Igni. Okay, I'm just gonna slice you in half when you have 1 HP remaining, and quite literally, yes, slice you in half. There are few too many enemies here that are apparently sitting on just enough HP that a few Ignis do not take them down, which is unfortunate, because that is, generally speaking, the most efficient way to take out the weaker enemies, because that way we avoid losing any durability on our gear. And looks like there's this, the remains of this guy over here. Then here is their camp. Will we find anything in this seemingly pretty shiny chest? It has that little bit of a glow around it, so I wonder if, yes, this will have some quest-related things in it. So, Holgar Blackhand's Horn and Journal of a Thief Part 2. Both of them have the quest-related exclamation point next to them, so let's see what this says. This does say Part 2, and I'm not sure we picked up Part 1, so this might technically be something that is sort of out of order here. Let's just see what it says. I, Kiar, son of Knut, have twice disgraced myself, first by running from the field of battle out of fear of dying. The shield I abandoned then rests on the bottom of that marsh, and there it will stay until Ragnaru, as testimony of my cowardice. The second time was when Orn Twoheads convinced me to help him steal Holgar Blackhand's horn, which is one of the things we just picked up. Orn thought I'd sell the horn to smugglers, but I won't. I'm to live like a thief and a bandit. I prefer not to live at all. The one thing I can do to regain my honor is to return the horn to where it belongs, to its ancestral home. Mathios, who Holgar charged with getting the horn back, has family near these cliffs. I hope he'll come here for the Equinox Festival. Then, I'll be able to give him back the stolen horn and ask him to vouch for me with the Jarl. That's all the hope I have left. Okay, so that sounds vaguely familiar. Like we may have gotten some information about that in the past. No, that does say new quest. Okay, so maybe that is truthfully entirely new. And I'm not entirely sure in that case where we would have found the initial one of those notes. And it does look like a place of power. I can imagine the glowy thing right where there's the indentation in the rock, but apparently not this time. But a new quest is certainly not a bad pickup. Let's double check what the level of that one is. So it's going to be in secondary quests, and it's going to be Hallowed Horn. So it's 12. So this is actually, I think, now becoming the lowest level quest that we have. Bring the stolen horn to Mathios. Out of curiosity, where is that? Is that back in Arnbjorn, in which case it's quite close and we'll probably be heading back there soon. It's further south. We've not yet been to this area. So we can certainly... it seems like we've done the hard part. I don't know if it's quite as simple as just talking to the guy and giving him back the horn, or if things get more complicated from there because it was a stolen horn. Maybe. But I think we'll wait on that one until we do find ourselves visiting this area down here. And instead, we'll keep on going up north, exploring the rest of this section here, as was our initial plan. But as I was saying before, I felt like there were one or two more boats around here that seemed like they could have also had some loot in them. So let's just take a second here to double check. There is something either in the water, or that might actually be on the other side of those cliffs there, I feel. My guess is more enemies of the human variety. I think the boat that we've not yet checked might be this one here. I think this is the one I was saying looks like it could very well have something in it. So let's just... We may have already seen this one. Maybe. I think we may have, but ultimately doesn't look like anything. So let's keep moving. And we'll head back toward what seemed like more the center island, and maybe follow what appears to be the official path, which takes us in this direction here. And the path is built in part with this boat. Or more like, there was a path, and then a boat said, you sure about that? Mind if I butt in? Okay, so let's see what else there is. We're expecting to run into the Wraith for the actual Witcher contract soon. Oh, it might have been the goats that we were seeing with our Witcher senses there, though there is something on the other side, it would appear. Not quite on full HP, so let's just quickly heal that up. In case we do run into anything else that's a little bit trickier. More things over there, where there is an enemy on the pathway here. All I see is the goats at the moment, but apparently those goats are really ugly. No, it's this guy who has a crossbow. And let's claim you. And is your friend also crossbowman? Doesn't seem like it, so I think we can be patient here and do this and hope that that's enough to take you out with just Ignis. And then we have this pirate. We'll see about that. One moment, please. I think you're going to be one of the ones that finishes with just a little bit of HP remaining. You did not care that we just ignited you. In fact, you did not really get burnt. Step number 2. This time we take you out. Yes. Okay. Then we'll loot you guys. Just cotton. Not terribly impressive, not going to lie. It's a little bit disappointing. Those goats would probably give us better loot. There is still seemingly at least one more, if not many more, these pirates. Yeah, they may be part of what looks like a bandit camp over here. You're actually blocking me. How dare you? Alright, bring it on. Bring it on. You also did not actually get ignited. Yeah, sure. I mean, I was trying to get multiple of them at once, but they didn't quite want to line up that way. Same there. You, ideally, we could hit you all with an Igni simultaneously. Come on, line up. Oh, 2 out of 3. Oh, and then I tried to dash a little too slow. Okay. Let's just take you out, and brutally at that. And then we'll fry you as you try to intimidate us with some kind of hand gesture. It's not going to work, buddy. And we'll loot you. Lots of coal. Well, guess we know what these guys got for Christmas. And then there are still a few remaining. Oh, this is actually hidden treasure. So I do wonder if maybe this is the one that would have given us the initial item for that quest that we picked up from the previous area. Because, yeah, this has the glow around it. Little sparkles that suggest that there is some quest-related thing. Excuse you? But, excuse you? Enough of that! I was busy frying your friend and turning him into fried chicken. I don't appreciate when you try to stop me from doing that. Okay. So, let's take all this stuff. I think what we're going to find is that when we loot that glowy bag over there, that it's going to give us note number 1. We just saw note number 2. Come on, loot this. There we go. Because we saw note number 2 when we were going to the previous location. Is there anything else here, though, or is it just that? It might just be this. Yeah, like, see the sparkles? Unsent letter. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but it does still have some kind of quest indicator on it. Let's see if it's for the same quest or not. Leaf. Go around, up a few pearl divers, and bring them here. But good ones this time. Those turds were brought from in Spikaroo, drowned before they could get any use to us. Before they could be any use to us. I don't know, maybe that ship really has sunk too deep for any man to pull anything out of it. But it's worth a try. From what the survivors said, it was carrying a mighty hefty load of silver. That sounds like a totally different treasure hunt. Pearls of the coast, okay. And it does look like perhaps something that is very similar to what we were just saying we wanted to do, or what we have been doing, is checking all those boats, but this sounds like something that'll be deeper in the water. We go treasure hunts, yeah, pearls of the coast. Search for the treasure on the seafloor using your Witcher senses. Let's just check where this is, because I suspect this is probably pretty close by. Yeah, it's... Whoa! We may have actually gone, like, right here before, and just barely missed it. Because, yeah, that is, like, almost exactly, in fact, is one of the boats we were looking at before. Now we have a better sense of what we're looking for. You can see our shadow down there! That is sick. Look at that tree, and you can see Geralt with his sword as well when we move our sword. That's epic. Okay, that now the shadow of us and the shadow of the cliff we're standing on don't line up perfectly, so maybe we just, like, take a step back or so, and there we go. Now we're talking. That's impressive. Okay. That being said, let's duck down here real quick again. And, okay, maybe it's, yeah, I think it's a little bit further in this direction. Over here? Huh. Ah, okay. It's this chest. Let's check it out. Yeah, there is a boat. Almost like a little dinghy, more than anything. Doesn't look like it's quite the size of the other ones, but maybe not. Big sword. Florins. That might have been it. I suppose we had enough breath that we probably could have stuck around to poke around a little bit more, but let's catch our breath and do another Witcher senses check. See if there's anything we missed, but I think that might have been it all, actually. And there was a level tied to this quest. I suspect that might have just been because there were some pirates in this general area, but we already took them out, I guess. So I think we're in the clear here. Let's resurface, and then we can check out the sword. Maybe we'll get over to land first. What is the easiest way back up? Let's not go that way just yet, because that's a little bit further north than we've gone thus far. And then we'd have to backtrack a bit. I think I want to try to go back up this way, which I'm pretty sure is how we went down, but it is steep. I don't know if it's going to be quite possible or not. Geralt, can you make that? I don't think you want to. Don't think you want to. But maybe, in fact, we do. Hop down like that and belly flop. Okay, let's check the sword in that case before we forget. So it's probably this one here. It is. Innis. It's a steel sword. It's competing against our Witcher sword. That's a tough competition to win. It is lower damage. It does have higher armor piercing. Less on the crit chance, which is a pretty big downside, but it does have some chance to poison. A little bit of extra experience as well. It's solid, but I don't think it's an upgrade. It looks like it's curved as well, which is interesting. Unfortunately, not that valuable. Only worth 276 coins, and we are probably going to either sell it or break it down into components, based on how it's not an upgrade. But good to pick up. Oh, what? Entrance? Okay, now that, at some point in time, we will want to check out. It's an underwater entrance to something, which may actually be what we were seeing those little vibrations coming on our Witcher senses from. They usually indicate some kind of enemies. But I do want to check that out at some point. I just want to make sure that it is not tied to some other quests in this area, because we have a lot of them. And if it is tied to one of those quests in this area, then I want to learn about it the way we're supposed to learn about it rather than accidentally coming across it like that. If it's something totally new and different and it's not tied to anything here, then we'll check it out and we'll just go in there and see what happens. There are more enemies here. Are these also bandits? These bandits we fought before? Oh no, I think the game just forgot that we took them out. Because this is the camp we were going at before. Okay, so we took those guys out. Let's just make sure there's not anything else more on this side. This side is considerably smaller. And then this island with the mist on it is the island with the lighthouse, as you can see there. That is where we're expecting to run into the Wraith for our Witcher contract. I thought there were other things around here too. Like, see, basically what I'm referring to is those 3 circles down there, I think, are probably underwater / under this rock here. And so we need to go through the entrance to actually find those. So I want to hold out just to see if it's somehow tied to this Witcher contract or some of the other quests that I think we still have in this area. Let's save before we head over here, because it looks dark and foggy and mysterious and dangerous. Who knows what might happen to us? We are dropping. We are dropping. Fortunately, there is water down there. Otherwise, that might have been to our death, in which case it would have been very good timing for us to save there. Have we actually checked this boat for loot? I don't think we have. I don't think we've checked the other boat. It is further to the side as well. That doesn't seem like that's going to give us anything. I wonder if this one over here has anything either. This one looks like it actually has a bit of a dock. At the very least, I would think that maybe those barrels at the dock might have something. Anything over here, though? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, and we did get a marker for the lighthouse. Let's just double check. I would have thought that marker would be further. Okay, yeah, it is closer to the actual lighthouse, but we got the marker even though we are way down here. There is, interestingly enough, a question mark over here and a question mark over here, way out in the water. I do wonder if it might be worth checking some of that out. We have not yet done much of that. There is, and by that I mean, there are many question marks that are out in the middle of the water in Skellige. I imagine many of them could be the types of things that we've seen in other areas where there's floating loot, or kind of like what we just did, there might be a sunken ship somewhere that we need to dive down to get the treasure from. So I wonder if those things are best done via boat or via just swimming. We do have a boat right next to us, so that could potentially be a solution. There may also be... And Carol, can you hop up here, please? And thank you. Or on the boat and then onto the dock. Okay, if that's your preference, then sure. Never mind the fact that you climbed through the dock to get onto the boat, defying all laws of physics, but sure. So, yeah, like, there are definitely... Pure silver, that's not bad. Definitely some kind of enemies down here. And that is in the general direction of the question mark. Like, is that Atlantis? Or is that a totally different island that we already knew about? Like, we're looking straight out in this direction. There's a lot of distance before there's actually any islands of notes. Maybe it's this one here. This seems like that could potentially be big enough that we would be able to see it from this distance. But I was wondering if maybe, like, this question mark is actually a whole island. In which case, maybe that's a pretty big deal. Let's just... I want to see if we can figure out what that question mark is. Not necessarily sure we want to do it right now, but just in the name of science, I want to get a sense for what kind of things we're expecting to find when we do go into those question marks, because there are so many of them that are out in the middle of the water like that. There are enemies out here in the water. You guys were saying, back when we were in Velen, and it is over here, that, Smuggler's Cache. Okay, so that does suggest that, yes, it is loot. Those sirens actually go in the water? Interesting. You guys were saying when we were in Velen that the boat health is a lot more significant than I was giving it credit for. Is it down here or is it below this? Might be below this. I think it's going to be this. There are some enemies that are perhaps sneaking up on us right now. There is an enemy that is right behind us right now that's probably going to drag us underwater imminently. yet. Oh dear, what the heck is that? That is one of the siren things that is swimming right now. Can we go to our crossbow and shoot it in the face, please? In the face, please. It is an actual siren. I have missed. So yeah, you guys were saying that the boat HP is a lot more significant. I'm missing. It's a lot more significant than I was giving it credit for. Can I actually hit you, please? There we go. A lot more significant than I was giving it credit for in Berlin/Novigrad, where it seemed like maybe it didn't really matter, because it seemed like there weren't actually any enemies that were going to try to fight us. Okay, so like, if we were to try to fight you, yeah, you just went underwater. Seems like that might be the way in which you guys want to fight us, is by basically taking the drowner approach. Going underwater, trying to drag us under, which is good in many ways, actually, because you're going to do the same thing? Because we can't swing a sword when we're out in the water like this. So that means that we are pretty defenseless unless you go underwater and we can use a crossbow, because we can't use a crossbow when we're swimming above water like this. So let's check for more of these loots, because these are still highlighting red, as if they are tied to a quest here. It does make me wonder if we are actually going to find something that starts a quest, or if this is just going to be loot for the sake of loot. Okay, there is another enemy sneaking up on us, and it might catch us before we can resurface. We're about to find out. It's going to be close. Hello, Siren-y friend. Can we shoot you in the face? I went back to the surface before I could do this. You got us. Hold on. Hold on. Come back here. Come back here. So this was another reason why I'm not sure, technically speaking, how big your hitbox, so to speak, is. We should surface before another one comes, though. Like, I thought I might have hit you in the tail there, but it seemed like that technically doesn't count. You might still need to hit in the face, pretty much, to make it count. There's still something red over here. That might have just been a... Oh, that's the enemy. Okay, never mind. That's just the siren swimming in the water. That's not the actual stuff we need. Oh, did one of the sirens hop on the boat? Sort of. I don't know if the sirens will actually attack the boat. They very well may. That's... What? Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to use a sword out on the water. We are also going to need to finish this fight underwater with the crossbow. Like so. Oh, the other thing was we were talking about... Yep, you got us. Well done. We were talking about perhaps trying to get more of the slowing... Or actually, I don't think we got any of this, but the slowing time down when we are aiming our crossbow skill. Largely for this very reason. That it's easier to take down the sirens. Or actually, at the time, I mean, it was just drowners. But you guys were saying, well, when you get to Skellige, it's going to be a lot more than just drowners trying to fight you in the water. But, I do wonder to what extent we're going to find that useful or necessary. I think it will definitely be useful. Just a matter of how useful, really. But I think mission accomplished here, and that we did at the very least determine what one of these question marks is, and there are definitely more of them. Yeah, they're going to be... So I suspect that things like this are probably most of the time going to be smuggler's caches. Not all the time, but many times, I think. So, good to get a sense as to what we might expect from, you know, all the question marks out here and so on. So, we can actually harbor here if we... Whoa, hold on. The game has decided it wants to tab out. There we go. So, yeah, we could actually basically fast travel over to the harbor if we wanted to on this island that we actually may not know the name of. But I think we're going to pass on that for now, and we could just auto... wait, hold on. For a second there, it looked like I might have been able to fast travel to the question mark. And I was like, that would be kind of convenient to be able to do that, but we could just hop back over to the harbor here, and I'm curious as to how exactly that works. Because that is, I think, technically the first time we've done that. But there it is, and it does, quite literally, work like any of the normal signposts. And that could be a useful form of transit when we're in Skellige like this, when we're expecting to have most of the places we're looking to go to, the islands. I didn't take too much note of just how many harbors we had, but as you saw there was at least this one here, and there was one other in an island that we haven't yet been to. Those could be helpful going forward. But I think for now, we're talking about checking out what the deal is on this spooky, misty island with that big moon as well. Let's save here. I think we did somewhat recently, but...
Not your average mist.
Yeah, this does seem awfully strange that the mist is very much specifically on this island. I mean, we could see that we were just on the island right next to it before, and there was nothing there. But as soon as you looked over in this direction, you're like, yep, that is clearly very shrouded in mist. I love the way that moon looks, though. Adds so much to the ambiance. That looks like a wraith to me. Is that the wraith we're looking for? Level 15 wraith. That looks like your average wraith, though. Okay, he's going to teleport right next to us, though, because that is what they do. Oh, what? That looks different for a second, though. Okay, so we are technically supposed to use Uridan against you. We're gonna teleport. Oh, geez. Timing was good there. I'll give you that one. Another one coming. Something tells me we're gonna find...
Spectre. Killing it won't change a thing.
Yeah. These guys are just the random ones that are not going to be terribly significant. That much I do know. But I do wonder if these guys are going to have any tricks up their sleeves. Felt like you made a different sound effect when we took you out. Like you were actually saying some message, like jarbled words that theoretically we could have made some sense out of if we tried really hard. Have we been to that little island down there? Yes, we have. I think so. Because that is technically part of the other island. So, or it looks like they might just barely be connected. That's the moon again. Oh, what is this?
Wound on his back. He was running away.
Okay. Remember, we have the Wraith, but we also have the lighthouse itself that is no longer operational. So, putting two and two together, we're assuming that the Wraith probably took out the Lightkeeper and other people who were in the area, if there were any. Is still this boat down here, which I would like to try to investigate. If we can find a good way to get there. That might be easier said than done. It does look like a little bit of a pathway to it of sorts. Getting back up may be no easy feat. Anything loot-wise we want to check out here? It looks like just herbs. Pretty sure, and Geralt might not even want to climb up here. No, he'll do it. Okay. Pick up the blood moss. Can we hop on this to get ourselves back on the mainland? Yes, we can. Okay, good. So, not much there. Ooh, almost drop back down. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for anything else interesting. That's the guy we just investigated. But for the most part, expecting more wraiths, for sure. Looks like, yes, there was perhaps a bit of a village here. I mean, usually you don't have just the lighthouse itself. You'll have the actual house that the Lightkeeper stays in, which is not the lighthouse itself. That's usually just for work. And then here's another body.
Managed to find cover. Almost.
This may have been the actual Lightkeeper's house, or another building of someone who worked closely with the Lightkeeper. You hear more wraiths, and I saw a wraith in the distance. They can teleport short distances. It's not out of the question that they could cover some ground pretty quickly here. So should keep our eyes peeled, even if at the moment we appear to be safe. That might be able to change quite quickly. Yeah, we can see there are faint circles over there. Curious as to what's inside. No.
Hey, anyone there?
Anyone managed to live through this? Oh, something's happening here. Going into a cutscene, it seems. Not 100% sure we're safe.
How did you get here?
What do you think? It is an island. You, Mikjal?
I mean, we actually walked most of the way,
Jorn
not voted.
from Bjorn sent me. Where'd all those wraiths come from? Last saw something like this near Vergen when...
from nowhere.
Ooh, yeah.
That's just
Big
it.
curse.
Fire went out and wind died of a sudden. That's how it started. Came out here for oil, stepped out of the house, looked up, saw the mist rising. Then the ghost showed, came straight at me. Bolted back inside, hosped the door, and then I heard it. Someone whispered me name. Miguel. Miguel. I look out. There's the wraith. Big bugger, bigger than the rest, and cold flowing from it. Such cold the windows frosted o'er.
That is... Okay, well, confirmation that there is, in fact, a wraith that appears to be more significant than the other ones that we were just running into. I mean, not sure that was really ever something we were uncertain about. I think that was pretty much always the assumption, but any idea what might have drawn the specters, or tell us more about the wraith itself? I mean, both of these things we would definitely like to know about. Yeah, but it does seem like, at least based on your story there, you're suggesting that this whole thing happened very quickly, and that you didn't really have any warning that it was going to happen. Nothing that clearly made it happen. Nothing, no triggers.
These ghosts didn't appear without reason.
So what was it?
Brought them here.
Must
Any
be something.
ideas?
No clue. There's nothing here. The lighthouse, me hut, just rocks besides. Even bloody drowners know there's nothing for them on Elberg.
Huh. Okay, so still no real answers there. What about the wraith itself, though?
This wraith, the big one. Tell me more.
It seemed more clever than the others. Like it knew everything. Haven't helped much, have I? Sorry. Only saw it once. It disappeared right after.
Strange. Need to look around.
Here.
Odd.
This key opens the lighthouse. You know, in case you want to look inside, or you need to run from something.
Yeah? Okay. So, little bit of information there. Let's read up on what we know here. So, we are not on missing persons. We are on this one, Phantom of Eldberg. So, explore the lighthouse using your richer senses. Harold learned that the village called Arnbjorn was suffering from a wraith problem. The ghost haunted the nearby islet of Eldberg, a barren rock of no interest to anyone save for the lighthouse erected upon it. This lighthouse's light had gone out simultaneously with the phantom's appearance. This meant it had become nigh unto impossible to safely navigate a ship into Arnbjorn harbor after dark. Witcher's task was to chase off the phantom and find out what had happened to the lighthouse keeper. We found the lighthouse keeper. That much is good. He appears to be relatively safe and sane, at least as much as one can be, given the circumstances right now, and the circumstances are obviously rather grim. But we'll see if we can do anything about that.